Jody of Lambent Crochet. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet the Endless Summer Bandeau. I'll be using Bernat Maker Home Dec yarn, which is a category 5 bulky weight yarn. I'll be pairing it with an H 5mm crochet hook. I'll also be using a pair of scissors, as well as a darning needle. In this tutorial, I'll be working up the pattern for my specific size, but if you would like other sizing info as well as the gauge information, please visit my blog, lambentcrochet.com, or check out my Etsy shop, Lambent Crochet, where you can find this pattern available for purchase in PDF form as an instant download. Okay, so let's get to it. So for my size, I'm going to start off by making a slip knot and then doing a chain of 32. Okay, so now that I have my starting chain of 32 complete, I'm going to go ahead and begin working in the second chain from the hook, but I'll be working in the back bump. So you'll need to turn your chain over to reveal the back bump on the other side. Now I'll be doing a series of slip stitches all the way down the starting chain in the back bump. When I'm finished the row, I'll have a total of 31 slip stitches made. At the end of the row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work to begin row 2. Now, row 2, I'll be starting off in the very same stitch as the starting chain, and I'll be making a full slip stitch. So be sure you put your hook underneath both loops of the stitch. Then in every other stitch of the row, I'll be doing a slip stitch, but in the back loop only. But I'm going to stop before working the very last stitch, so leave the last stitch unworked because you're going to be doing a full slip stitch in the very last stitch. So be sure you go under both loops of the stitch. Okay, so now that I have that row complete, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And then I'm going to be repeating row 2 all the way down for the amount of rows needed for my size. So I'm going to begin by making a full slip stitch in the very first stitch, so the same stitch as the starting chain. Then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the back loop only in every stitch except for the very last stitch, which will be another full slip stitch. Then you'll chain 1 and turn your work to continue on the next row. Now the following rows will all be repeats of row 2, and since I need to make a total of 91 rows for my size, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to the next step. If you wanted to check out my blog, lambentcrochet.com, where you can find all the details to make this bandeau in your size, feel free to pause the video to do so, or you can hop over to my Etsy shop where you can purchase your own copy of this pattern. I'll have both links posted in the description box below. Okay, so I've completed all of my rows and this is what my work is looking like. Now, if you wanted a little tip on how to count your rows when you're working the slip stitch back loop only, a speedy way is to just count by 2s. So every row that is facing you can be counted as 2 rows. So just count by 2s and it'll make things much simpler and faster for you. Okay, so moving on to the lace up holes, we're going to chain 1 and then turn our work. Make a full slip stitch in the very first stitch, so the stitch that is connected to the turning chain. And now chain 4. Skip 4 stitches and make a slip stitch in the next. Chain 4. Skip 4. And make a slip stitch in the next. Repeat this all the way down the row. Chain 1 and turn. This turning chain will count as the very first stitch for the next row. Now make 4 single crochets in the first chain 4 space, which will give you a total of 5 stitches including the turning chain. Now make 5 single crochets in every chain 4 space, except for the very last chain 4 space. There you'll only make 4 single crochets followed by a slip stitch in the last stitch. Now chain 1 to cut your yarn and tie off. And this is what your lace-up holes will look like when you're all finished. Flip your work to join your yarn to the other side of the bandeau, so you'll be working into the starting chain, and repeat the 2 steps you did for the lace-up holes on the other side. The only difference will be for the very first stitch. When you join your yarn, be sure to do a single crochet into the same stitch and then start doing your chain 4. At the end of this step, cut your yarn, tie off, and weave in your ends. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the bottom edging. So go ahead and grab your accent yarn and join it to the very first row along the bottom edge, going around the first stitch. We're going to begin by making the standing single crochet, or alternatively, you can do a chain 1, then single crochet in the same stitch. Then make a single crochet for every row that you have made for your bandeau. So for my size, I did a total of 91 rows, so I need a total of 91 single crochets along the bottom edge. Okay, so now I've completed my 91 single crochets along the bottom edge. Now if you notice a little bit of rippling along your edging, don't worry. This is completely normal when working with such an elastic stitch. Now to begin the very first row of the bottom edging, turn your work and do a chain of 5. Now skip 3 stitches and make a single crochet in the next. Chain 5. Skip 3. And single crochet in the next. Repeat this all the way down your row. When you have 3 chains left, chain 2 and make a double crochet in the very last stitch. Chain 5, and turn your work. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Chain 1. Now working in the next chain 5 space, do a double crochet, chain 1 6 times. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space. And now we're going to begin by working our repeat. Chain 5. This is the very first step of our repeat. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space and chain 1. Now working in the next chain 5 space, make a double crochet, chain 1 6 times. Now moving on to the very last step of our repeat, single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Continue with this repeat all the way down the row. After you make your very last single crochet and you have 1 chain 5 space left, chain 2 and double crochet in the last chain 5 space. To begin the next row, chain 2 and turn. Double crochet, chain 2 in the next 6 double crochet stitches. Single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Now the next step is going to be the beginning of our repeat. Chain 2, a double crochet, chain 2 in the next 6 double crochet stitches. Then make a single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Continue with this repeat all the way down the row, with the last stitch of the row being a single crochet in the last chain 5 space. Then chain 1 and turn. Single crochet in the chain 2 space. Now for every chain 2 space that's in between 2 double crochet stitches, make a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. When you reach the chain 2 space that's in between a double crochet and a single crochet, only make a single crochet. Then repeat this step all the way down the row. Then once you complete the very last single crochet, make a single crochet around the double crochet post in the row before the last. Then chain 1 to tie off and cut your yarn. Here is what the beautiful bottom edging will look like when you're done. Now to begin working on the top edging, join your yarn to the very first row as you did for the bottom edging and begin with a standing single crochet. Then continue to make a single crochet in every row of your bandeau. The number of single crochets that you've made, including the standing single crochet in the beginning, should equal the same amount of rows that you have for your bandeau. At the end of this row, chain 1 and turn your work. Now do the following repeat down the row. Single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. Once you've completed the row, you'll end with 1 stitch left. Make a slip stitch in the very last stitch. Then chain 1 to tie off and cut your yarn. Here's what the top edging will look like when you're done. Now to create the tie, make a slip knot and form a chain the length you would like plus 1 for the turning chain. Then working in the second chain from the hook, we're going to be going into the back bump and making a slip stitch down the length of the chain. When you've completed this, simply chain 1 to tie off and cut your yarn. Now to add your tie to your bandeau, simply fold it in half and then lace it up the same way you would do a shoelace. Finish it off with the bow, and now it's ready to wear. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if so, please give me a like and share some love in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell button so you'll always be notified when I have a new video uploaded. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, so pop on over, give me a like and a follow, and you can tag me in all of your crochet related posts where you learned a new technique or pattern from watching these tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you real soon.